Blaise Pascal was a French philosopher, mathematician, scientist, and inventor. He was also a theologian. And speaking of sinners, he said, there are only two kinds of sinners: the righteous who think they are sinners, and the sinners who think they are righteous. It's not popular to speak of sin today. But why? Why is it a subject we want to avoid? I've thought a lot about this question. Perhaps the notion of sin is uncomfortable because we don't want to sound as if we're judgmental. After all, who am I to tell you how to live your life? And who are you to suggest that my behavior may be inappropriate? The mere mention of the word sin suggests that there is a standard that determines what is right and what is wrong, what's permissible, what's not. That moral benchmark is God's Word. Now, I may think God's standards are unfair, offensive, unreasonable, or even outdated. And it's tempting to want to edit, amend, or rewrite God's regulations to accommodate our desires. But we're not permitted to do so. God's standards determine whether our conduct is righteous or sinful. What I've learned about God's standards is I often fall short of being a righteous person. In other words, I sin. And the truth is, we all do. Now, I would much rather acknowledge my sinfulness, ask and receive God's forgiveness, and align my conduct to God's standards than to think that sin doesn't matter. So if a benchmark is essential to measure our behavior, whose standard will we trust? Blaise Pascal has it right. Some know they're sinners, and some think they're just righteous. For a weekly dose of hope, check out my weekly blog. You can find it at richardparrish.net. That's richardparrish.net. I pray you will have a blessed week.